Hello one and all, and welcome to round 17 of the League of Europe Division 2 Championship. We're here today at quite a rainy day here in just outside Mexico City for the Mexican Grand Prix. We're nearing the business end of the season, 3 races to go, and round that the championship could be wrapped up. We're going to have to wait and see on that then. I have joined, as per usual, with my good friend and co-commentator, Kvyat Verstappen. How you doing today, mate?
Hello everyone, and welcome once again here at Mexico, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And yeah, I'm doing quite well. It's again some rain, so that's been I think quite a while. But that we had it in quali, but we of course had the last 2 races in Russia and Japan. We had some intermediate conditions at the end of the races. So yeah, let's see how this is going to pan out.
From intermediate conditions in the races to intermediate conditions here in this qualifying sessions, one that I quite enjoy seeing, because usually most drivers don't do much practice in the wet conditions, so it can be a bit of a leveler, and we'll see who is going to be advantaged by this and who is going to fall back compared to what we usually see of them. So here we go, over the line. Super Gamer was the first car on track in the Alfa Romeo, and we're going to track his progress through the remainder of this flying lap then. So heading towards turn 1 now, overtake mode activated there. Get on the brakes soon enough there, and then planning jumping into turn 1, takes it second gear, runs a little bit wide, scoop it back on the line for turn 2 over the curb, keeps it in second gear all the way through, fight for traction and exit, and grab it. Now going up through the gears on the straight, down towards turn 4 then, swing it to the right hand side, brake just before the 100-meter board, try and hit that curb on the inside, open up this is next corner at turn 5 there. Bit of oversteer for Super Gamer as he puts it in a first gear, trying to rotate the car. Now through turn 6, keeps it nicely stable there. Now through this fantastic middle sector here, yes, it's through turn 7 there, just kiss the curb on the inside, glide it over the curb at turn 8, runs a bit wide through 9, skip it back on the line for turn 10. It's a little bit out of shape, that Alfa Romeo, it may not be quite under him, is able to wrestle it back then underneath him going into the final sector. Turn 12, runs a little bit wide again, just struggling to kiss it into that apex. Now onto the brakes into the final few corners. There's a little kink there at turn 15, and then into the final 2 corners at turn 16 in second gear, and then it's a long run through turn 17, is all the way on the throttle. Super Gamer to the line, that's a 27 dead. Not sure of course what representative times will be, but that appears to be pretty decent. Of course we wait for more cars to come over the line and put up times in representative, as Killer Blue comes over the line as just a couple of hundredths quicker. So we may see the times improve throughout the session, as you see Matty with a big lap there at 26.2. We'll see of course how everything, and then again that's topped by McCrew by some margin, so maybe the conditions are improving as we're seeing the lap times come down quite rapidly. You see every lap at the moment is quicker than the last, and the rain may be easing up slightly. So Verstappen, do you think that the conditions may be improving out there?
That might be a possibility, although it is also a possibility that as Nico goes P3 there, that just drivers are the faster wet drivers are maybe coming in later with the laps, but we'll have to see about that. Some people have now set their lap. Cookie Games is in front, 2/10 ahead of McCrew. A few drivers coming around to set their lap times, including B Morgan up into P6. And White, that's a low banker for 131.3. This is quite a technical lap, even in the dry. You have to really search for the track limits, where they are, and especially in the wet it can be quite a challenge.
Yeah, imagine managing the car through that S section in the middle sector, where in the dry it's all about the apex speed that you carry, you know, using as much of the track as you can. But of course in the wet, if it's a kind of a risk versus reward thing. You try and push the limit of the grip on the tyres a bit too much, and you can find yourself facing the wrong way or in a tyre barrier. So of course it is a balance, and these drivers are going to have to try and strike that, and the drivers that are able to find that best compromise between, you know, attacking the corners and also keeping your car planted underneath you, those are the ones that are going to come out best here in this wet qualifying session.
Yeah, and as Marcus coming across the line, usually a decent wet driver, gets himself up into P7 there. And I think it's Gary next to cross the line.
His ERS is turned down. So
he's coming around. Yeah, he might go. No, I think he's set a lap there. He goes up into P2 there. Down into P9.
That's interesting for Gary, because at least for me, his ERS was on 0 most of the time, so he's really trying to manage the traction of the car by the looks of things. So that's really helped him along then, unless it's glitching out on my screen and he was actually running normal modes. But if so, that's quite a fascinating strategy from Gary, which may serve him well. We're just gonna have to wait and see, of course, how things will pan out throughout the session.
Yeah, now we're just waiting. Super Gamer seems to be on the final corner, so let's see what he can do. See what's 9/10s up, coming through sector 2. Let's see, coming across the line. Into P4 he goes. Good lap time from the Alpha driver. And Killblue in behind on the invalid one, unfortunately. And Super Gamer's teammate, out of the team, Matthew, has shown really good pace the last couple races. Especially Japan leading quite a lot of the race. But coming across the line, and he goes provisional pole position there. And Crew come into the pits. Oh, he's in next one as he drifts quite a lot of oversteer there. But yeah, he gets himself into P7.
Yeah, I'm thinking that with both Matty and Super Gamer improved by large margins, it may be that the track is improving. It's very hard to say at this stage, obviously, because these drivers might just be, getting to grips with the conditions, gaining confidence out on track. More laps you do in the wet, of course, the more purchase you may get from your tyres, your car, and you're just finding the limits basically. That's what these drivers are. Of course, they may have to spin going sighters, and you're seeing a lot of the best of these drivers. You can expect to see probably a lot of drivers into the 25s throughout this session. And what is it?
Y4Y into P11 there.
I was on board with Killer Blue, but he got hugely out of shape there, out of the S's, and was just about able to keep it together at turn 11. I'm not sure how much time that's going to cost the Ferrari man. He's navigating the final sector now, and he's got it in overtake mode, managing that throttle. Of course, it's really difficult to keep that car going there. Traction is going to be very key, especially off this last corner. It's already difficult in the dry, as you can see Killer Blue does indeed pull into the pit lane. As I'm just looking to see, is anyone on that flyer? I think B. Morgan maybe in that Mercedes, so if he is, I'll leave it to you, Verstappen, to take us through it there, because currently he's down in 14th. He's got some ground to make up. Can he do it on this flying lap?
So he's coming through the double apex right-hander off turn 6 then, and towards the SSCS car mentalist up ahead, so hopefully he'll get out of the way quite easily. He's coming through turn 8, and car mentalist does get out of the way, and now to turn 10 and 11. You don't want to cut it too much, but you want to abuse it a tiny bit of oversteer, but it keeps it nicely in shape. Down towards turn number 12, and now he's coming towards turn number 13. Difficult hairpin, need to get the traction right for 14 and 15 then. This is quite difficult, this chicane, and now down into turn 16, the penultimate corner, and for the last corner, take the shortest line possible as he comes across the line in P7, 125.9.
Decent lap from B. Morgan then. I'm looking, I saw Dylan, he's been struggling to put laps on the board. He's just started a flying lap. Just in front of him though is NSX Giorno, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a debutant. He may have raced the last time out in Japan.
No, he hasn't, so he is actually a debutant. So
yeah.
Let's see how he gets on. He's currently sitting in P17. He'll be hoping to improve on that. Maybe he's just getting wary with the conditions for now.
Yeah, well, we'll track the progress of the Rhino man then, going through that double apex right-hander of turn 6. Kate sticks it in third gear and fourth, trying to grab the traction, doesn't quite get the purchase he was maybe looking for. You see the car snapping from underneath him there. He's just going to continue on through turn 9, hooking on these curbs. It's really, as I mentioned earlier, you've got to try and use as much of the track as possible, and it just doesn't validate going through turn 11. I think there was yellows in sector 2. That might have been Morgan actually, I think, was recovering the car, and yeah, he's gone off there trying to let cars through. Car mentalist is just going past in there, but I think Dylan's a little bit further along there. His teammate going through into the last sector very aggressively through turn 12, really trying to maximise as much of the track as you can through this very technical final sector. The lap's still valid, and now a little bit of squirming for traction. He gets it back underneath him for the final corner, really fighting it there, really struggling to put it down, and that must have cost him some time because he does go only P13. Carmentalist over the line, and he doesn't improve, and it was invalid anyway, so I think he did back off that one. McCrew. Yep.
Yeah.
Just coming around the final corner. Massive oversteer. Gonna keep it going though to the line. And it is P3, a slight improvement. Cookie Games though, who's only half a tenth off that top mark from ILRT Matty. He's well up on his time, but runs a bit wide. Going through turn 12, has got to try and get the car back with it then. Hooks it over the curb at 13. Better oversteer going through turn 15. Gets it back together. More oversteer going to the final corner. Now he's going to try and get it down to the line. It is pole of 25.3. Now that's just pole for the time being. Looks like the conditions are holding pretty steady. So I think that it looks like, unless there's a real turn at the end of the session, these times are going to be quite important for the evolution of the session. As Cookie's teammate Maledictus goes P5, pretty decent lap on a 25.8. They feel very close to that midfield, it must be said. But yeah, I think the conditions at the moment haven't changed much. So yeah, these times could be important for the end of the session if the conditions hold, as they all want to have those important times down. But of course, the final run is always going to be the all-important one. But of course, these guys, good for the likes of Cookie and Matty to have those times on the board so they can really let loose on that final run if the conditions stay about the same. So the base that those guys have at the moment could serve them very well in the dying minutes of this session.
That is definitely true. Let's see, so there's 5.5 minutes to go indeed, and Killer Blue is coming round, and he goes up into P4. Good lap time for the Ferrari driver. In behind McCrew is just starting a lap, I think, so we have to go further back, and that is Daniel, I think. Yes, it is. Coming across the final corners again, and it was a 26.4. Doesn't improve his position, however. To Alpha as Matty goes professional pole once again, 25.1, and that is a really good lap time. They're all improving. Like gets the professional pole back from Cookie Games.
Well, Cookie and Matty have been vying over the top spot, and yeah, Maledictus does indeed go P3, a good lap there. The spot's beginning to swivel around just a little bit, see more and more drivers put down a lap time. But what I was going to say is that you know, Cookie and Matty have been vying for that top spot all the way through the session, and Matty so far has proved to be every inch equal of Cookie and even more. So you mentioned his pace in recent rounds, and at the moment in this wet quali session is proving to be equal to it yet again. Then a tenth and a half or so clear of Cookie Games at the top, and we'll see if he can hold that to the end of the session. But some phenomenal form at the moment from ILRT Matty. You know, he's had great pace all the way through the season, but it's only just recently where he's really started putting it together and putting entire races where he's fighting amongst the top runners there. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do it again here in Mexico, if he can have another race fighting up the front.
As another man who has been improvement throughout the season, LR McCrew is getting up into P2, just under a tenth behind ILRT Matty. And I think Matty's teammate Super Gamer is on the end, but he is invalid. So let's see, Oisin, first teammate of course. Looking to have decent pace in some races, but falling off in others.
P5.
Now, he looks to be good. And P5 indeed.
Yeah. I saw him struggling a little bit earlier on to get to grips with the conditions. Looks like he's adapted a bit now. Let's see, who's nearing the end of the lap? I think one of the McLarens is very close to it. I think Jekyll, no, he's invalidated right at the death there, and without a time on the board, there's quite a lot of pressure on the Briton if he wants to get up the grid, because yeah, sitting down in 19th place, it's not exactly what he's hoping to see there, as his teammate Rick is coming around the final turn now, currently down in 16th there, no longer. That's up to 8th on our 25.7, and you see the times continuing to fall throughout this session, and yeah, still top 15 covered by a second. It's pretty close given that it's a wet session, but yeah, we're still waiting for the session to further evolve, as I believe well, XL Dana is in fact on the lap, and of course he is still in this championship fight well and truly, so he's one of those drivers that we've got to really keep an eye on. But I don't think it looks like he's got his ERS turned down as well, but he's up on his time, so like I'm a bit conflicted as to whether he's actually on our lap or not. Who else would be on? I think Gary. No, Gary's not on one. Yeah, I'm just trying to find someone maybe on. You found anyone?
Let's scroll for a bit. I think Daniel is on the end, but he doesn't seem to be improving currently. So let's see. Yes, yeah, he takes the sideline. That's gonna be. Actually, he's gonna continue on here.
Oh!
He crashed across the line. Does not improve, unfortunately.
If you wanted a spectacular end to the lap, then well, plus points for Daniel, but that's not going to win him any prizes in terms of points. Giorno to the line indeed, and he still hasn't improved. Of course, the standard's quite high here, and at the moment he's maybe struggling on his debut to get himself up and amongst these top names. What I've just noted, Eloy Mark, purple through the first sector at the moment. Currently down in 14th place, but I know for a fact Mark is known for his speed in the wet conditions, because we've seen the Mercedes as well nearing the end of their laps, but I think Mark is going to be one to watch out for as well. We'll see how he's able to get on as, yeah, so Morgan is just starting out. We'll say with Mark then. Mark, and as I say, that's just about yeah, I've just seen that. Oyston though has gone, he's retired in the pit lane, so he must have realised that he didn't have enough time to get around, so he will qualify no higher than 5th, and he'll leave it to the rest of these men to dispute who's going to get pole, who's going to be up the front. We'll see. These questions will be answered in the next couple minutes. So yeah, I'll come to you, Verstappen. Who do you think is going to grab pole here?
I think it's going to be between Matty, McCrew and Cookie at the moment. It's looking like, and don't count Gary of course out. But yeah, I think there's a couple clear contenders, but maybe, who knows, someone else could throw in a surprise. And seeing the couple last minutes which will continue on till everyone's finished the laps, of course. Let's see, I think most are just starting the laps. So I'm just looking. White for White is on an invalid one. Axel Dan is also invalid, so just waiting there. Gary, is he on a lap? He's on an invalid one as well.
But these guys are all gearing up for laps there. Gary was left it pretty late in the session, which may help him, it may hinder him though if the conditions begin to favour him. Certainly I do believe the rain hasn't really affected much. It may have got a little bit lighter, but if so, it's not by very much at all.
See, it's almost half a second up.
Oh yeah.
He's coming across the line. Let's see what he can do. He gets himself up to P3. Good lap from the Ferrari driver there. Not improvement.
McCrew didn't make it to the line to start.
Commentalist into P5 there. Yeah. Good lap from the Toro Rosso. And one of the Haas drivers, that is Daniels, and an invalid one unfortunately for him. Mark in behind.
I've been keeping an eager eye on Mark throughout this lap. We'll see what he's able to muster up here. Currently 15th place there. Eloy Mark coming up to the lane, and it's P6. A pretty good lap from Mark, and that jumps him up several spots. I think he'd be reasonably happy with that one. XL Gary is going through the second sector. Jacob P9 there. Keller is nearing the line. I think Nico is just coming over now, but he will qualify no higher than 13th. We'll see.
Matty doesn't improve.
Matty, no improvement, so that opens the door for Cookie Games. Does it, Paul? No, he doesn't improve. He's 2 tenths down.
Maledictus, not improvement either. Dylan is the next one, and he's coming across the line in an invalid lap. Unfortunately, Giorno across the line doesn't improve either. One of them says, and that is Axel Dan, but he's invalid. And the next one is Axel Gary. Can he get it up? And he only gets P9.
Only 9th. Oh wow. And
I think that leaves Killblue, but he's not on a lap, so
he's 7 tenths down. Yeah, so
that is your starting grids, and Matty takes ball ahead of McCrew. And the title favorites not in the top 3. Ricky's still there in P4 though, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what this race is going to bring.
Indeed, it will be. The championship contenders are scattered throughout the field because Dan invalidated his final lap, didn't have a chance to improve, but Matty gets pole position yet again with McCrew alongside him. Those two have been fixtures towards the top of qualifying results all the way through the season, but particularly in the recent races. Killer Blue will be happy with 3rd, I think. Cookie Games lines up alongside him, ahead by some margin of his championship rivals. Carmentalist and Mark make up the 3rd row, the 4th row, sorry, well, no, Carmentalist on the, I'm confused. 3rd row, yes, indeed, I was right the first time. Maledictus 7th, Oyston 8th, Mark, Gary and Jaco round at the top 10. Rec, White Y, Nico Supergamer, Morgan, Dan, Dylan, Daniel, and Jorno round out the grid. The top 16 covered by 3/4 of a second in that session. So we'll see how the race is able to unfold. Looks like a competitive grid tonight, but with the championship rivals scattered throughout the field, I think this makes for a very intriguing race.
And as you can see, it is quite sunny out there now in Mexico. So let's see what strategies. As this is quite known to be a wide open strategy book, and with some safety cars, which could happen indeed too. Always, you never know how this one is going to turn out.
Of course, the good thing for the drivers that starting inside the top 10 is that they won't be at a disadvantage on strategy, which they otherwise usually would be at this track, I believe.
Yeah. They probably would be, but mostly due to the fact that you have more worn tires.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see a spread between softs and mediums, and maybe a few old ones out opting for hards, but I don't think many will go for those wide wall tires.
Yeah, I think you may be right here, but we'll see. I reckon that the one stop is probably more attractive than it otherwise would be for this race. We'll see. I'm seeing a lot of cars on the mediums just from eyeballing at the grid. So let's have a little look here. Who's starting on what tires? Yeah, it is quite split. Pretty evenly. I think mediums are the most populous tire, but I'll let you run through it a little bit there, because yeah, we do see quite a variety throughout the field here.
Yes, Matty and McCrew in the front row are starting on the mediums, so they might be in danger for their positions on the long run down into turn 1. As Kill Blue, Cookie and Carmentelis are on the softs behind and maybe looking for a good start. And then we have Mark Maledictus and Oisin on mediums, Gary on softs, Jake on mediums again, and then Rick on softs. White and Nico opting for the mediums as well. Super Game on softs, so he's trying to get through as fast as possible. B. Morgan, Dan and Dylan. Dan is down in P16, he has the route to make up from the 8th row of the grid. So let's see how he gets on. Daniel, the only one on the hards, and Jorno is close enough the grid on the softs, so he needs to get through soon as well.
It's such a long run into turn 1 that these guys on the front row are going to be vulnerable, especially on those medium tyres. So I reckon you could be looking at Killer and Cookie challenging for the lead into the first corner there with more grip off the line and that slipstream advantage. It could pay dividends for them sitting in the positions that they are in. We're just going to have to wait and see though. Matty is gliding the field around them. McCrew will sit alongside him on the front row. The order could change so dramatically for the first few corners. They're very tight. Could be chaos if you're not careful. And these drivers are all going to have to be wary of each other, watch where they are on track, and of course keep it clean. That's what we want to see. So yeah, these drivers going to be put through their paces in those first few corners. The field could bunch up going into there. They're going to have to be careful, and especially those 3 men still in contention for the championship. RLT Matty sets on pole position after a brilliant qualifying. Can he put it together in the race? McCrew sits alongside him, Killer and Cookie behind him. Let's see how the 36 laps of this Mexican Grand Prix will unfold there. We've got 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're away for the Mexican Grand Prix. Matty leads him off the line. Looks like he's got away pretty well. McCrew wasn't quick away, so now he's going to be under pressure then. Killer Blue looks to the outside. Cookie's going to go. They're almost 4 away going towards the first corner then. I believe they are. Killer round the outside. Cookie very late on the brakes. Can he get it stopped for turn 1? Yes. Cookie aims into the lead. They're side by side behind him though. McCrew contact with Killer Blue there as Matty dropped back off the start. Carmentelis gets up alongside the Alfa Romeo. Nightmare start for the Dane. He loses out 4th place as well. Carmentelis down the inside of El Armour Crew, tries to get it stopped on the Williams. They go wheel to wheel through turn 5. Carmentelis is forced off the road by McCrew, who holds that 3rd place and keeps it out for how much longer against the car on softer tyres, who again looks to the outside into the S's. No, Gary has made a pretty good start as well. He runs 6th then, just in behind RLRT Matty. Can he get the move done there as they're all filtering through pretty nicely behind through the S section? Looks like a clean enough start, but it's Cookie who's made that all important jump into the lead so late on the brakes in a turn 1, and now with that race lead he's got to make the most of it there, pulling away ever so slightly on this first lap.
Yeah, and the top 2 are gone there as Jake gets past Oisin there in turn 12, I believe. Good move from him, but yeah, McCrew has a bit of a train here. Still does it the fast lap of the races. Cookie might have picked up a warning, but Carmentalist is on the back of McCrew, and he seems to be getting past quite easily here, the Toro Rosso. And the side by side on the straight, but it looks like Toro Rosso has got it, and indeed he does. Breaking behind, looking at Mark. Mark is going quite defensive there in turn 1. Rick can hang it around the outside. What a move there from the McLaren driver, and he gets him to B8.
Brilliant from Rick there. Mark will not be happy with that. Trying to pick up that slipstream. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Gary looks down the inside of Arletty Matty. Can he get that one stop? Matty holds it. Round the outside of turn 4. Inside of turn 5. Still has 5th place. But Gary again looks to the inside. And this time the door is shut on him by the pole setter. He's not at the start he wanted. Gary's eager to gain places. But those 2 attempts he had at trying to wrestle that 5th place from Arletty Matty were futile. Not able to get through for Gary. And of course all the time that he sits in this pack, Cookie and he's dragging Killer with him. Cookie could really establish himself out in the front of this race, and he's chasing those 25 points there. He wants this race win. It's vital for his championship chances. Cookie out in front, pulling away from Killer Blue. Can he get the race win finally? We'll see, but at the moment, after that great start, he's in control of this there. Can he hold it together of this long 36 lap race?
That's a good opening lap with a 177. Carmentalist repeating that with that slipstream pass then, and he is a second away from McCrew. In behind we have Gary on the back of either team Matty. And you have Rick looking at Maledix as well, but focus on the championship leader as he's down the inside of either team Matty. Can he make it stick? I think he has made it stick as Matty tucks in behind. Rick has got past Maledictis and Oysen on White will way side by side. Dylan gets thrown in the heart as well. Then he runs quite wide there, and they're still side by side, but I think Dylan is just ahead there.
Yeah, now he's going to have to deal with the Alfa Romeo Super Gamer, who looks left and right up behind him. March by losing places over on these first few laps. But Gary, a pretty good start, 9th to 5th. He's gone well off the line then, but he still needs to make up more ground if he wants to try and limit the deficit, or possibly even gain points on Cookie. Of course, anything can happen, especially in this division. So we'll see if Gary is able to make it work at the moment. Rick is on a charge further behind though, on those soft tyres. He's made the start he wanted, the start that he needed on the soft, and now he chases on to the pole setter ILRT Matthew. Continues to slide backwards a little bit in this race. It would be difficult for him to hang with the leaders on those mediums, but at the moment he's losing out to even McCrew. Still sits in front of Gary, but for how much longer? Gary is going to have that slipstream and for the first time DRS. Wide open, goes the rear wings. He closes down up to the back of the Williams. Matty's defending from Rick behind, you can see, but Gary to the inside of LR McCrew, and I think he has it before the braking zone. McCrew still looking round the outside. Maybe he looks for a switchback on the racing point, but I don't think the move's quite going to come through, and Gary up into 4th. Another place gain for the championship leader. Matty looks like he's going to hold off any attacks from Rick, and looks like we're all pretty stationary in the midfield as well. So still, Cookie holds the lead. Killer hanging on to his DRS zone. At the moment, they're pulling away quite handily from the pack behind. Of course, Carmental's maybe not quite able to match those top 2. Gary, of course, started down in 9th. He's making good progress, but at the moment, it's Cookie with Killer just about hanging on to him. They're really establishing themselves in this race then, and well out in front. We'll see if it stays that way for the remainder of the 50% race distance. Cookie leads it from Killer, but how long can it stay that way in such a chaotic division?
Yeah, and one thing to note is Axel Dan is down in 17th, and he has really got to make up some ground. Otherwise, he might be out of the championship after today. And Oysen is close to the back of Jaco as well, and he's looking to get past, maybe on the straight. So he has a good exit here on the McLaren, and he likes to get past as he's on the curb there. They're still side by side. I think Jaco might still have the DRS.
They does, yeah. They both have DRS.
And look at Dylan. He's trying to close up as Oysen is looking for the move. Dylan has to stay in behind, I think. Commentalist picked up the 3-second time penalty. Jaco has to go defensive. Can Oysen hang it around the outside? And Dylan gonna go for the switchback here. Indeed, he does. And on the second DRS straight, Oysen just about stays ahead. And I think Dylan is turned his engine down. So that's Dylan just maintaining that 12th position, and the guys ahead doing the same.
Yeah, Jaco managing to fend off the attack from Oysen, and now he can maybe turn defence into attack as he tries to hunt down Eloy Mark. just up the road there, but we know Mark's prowess in keeping drivers behind. Looking throughout the field here, Gary is beginning to hone in the third place Alfa Romeo of the Alfa Romeo Toro Rosso of Carmental. So Gary may be looking to get up to the podium place, and you know, how much of an effect is that going to have in the mental psyche of Cookie Games? He saw Gary down the field in quality, and if Gary is able to get this third place, Cookie is going to be wary of that. Then he'll see it on his screen that the man that he's been fighting for this championship now occupies a podium position. Gary now with DRS gonna look to try and close down on Carmentos down the main straight there. I think that the Britain's under pressure, and he doesn't even cover the inside line. Gary Donegan from 9th on the grid, now up into the podium places if he can just get it stopped for turn 1. Carmentos into the back of him, just saves the car, brings the Toro Rosso back under control as looking further down the field in this midfield scrap over 9th place. J. Cole trying to hone in on Eloy Mark. Mark gets a decent exit though off of turn 3, and I think he may just about be safe. Tuna McLaren up behind him.
Super Gamer though.
As Super
And
Gamer.
he's standing inside on Dylan into turn 4. As Dylan still has his car ahead, but he has Super Gamer can try and go around the outside, but Dylan fends it off quite nicely, and he's coming into turn 6.
So Dylan covering off Super Gamer, who's on those softs, has got to try to make progress, but he was almost coming under attack from Wash Line. There was a bit of ducking and weaving amongst the drivers down there. Cookie Games is really stretching his legs out in front in this race though. Holds a lead of over 2 seconds now to Killer Blue, so proving to be, well, at the moment in a class of his own, but we know the strategies could favour some of these guys. For example, McCrew and Matthew are still set in that DRS of Carmentos, and now as the tyres start to wear, Carmentos is the first to blink. He's into the pits on lap 6, and he will come in and get a tyre change. To what tyre? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see then.
Mediums. So that must be a 2-stop as White Y is out of the session.
Oh.
And he's, I don't know what he's done.
I think it's in the pit lane.
That's
As
quite odd.
Jekyll down the inside of Mark in the top one, but Mark still there. Turn 2, wheel to wheel, and again in turn 3 they make contact. Jekyll's round. Jekyll loses control of the McLaren, and Oyster takes advantage. Sweeps past Mark up in the 8th place. That's the ticket that he needed, and now Mark relinquishes that 8th. Dylan into the back of Mark, and he's got damage. The Toro Rosso losing that end plate. Chaos down there in the midfield there. Mark breaking a little bit early, compromised by Oyston's lane in turn 3. Dylan completely caught off guard for that, runs into the back of the Ferrari, and now with wing damage he may have to pit very early on, and that's going to really compromise his strategy and his race there. Really big setback for Dylan.
It definitely looks like that. Nico is onto the back of the Toro Rosso now, and he looks to be getting past easily. This is not going to favour the 2 Mercedes drivers. They're in behind, and
Dylan coming back at Nico.
Dylan looks to be getting back indeed, but he can't with that wing damage. Nico stays ahead there, and Rick is onto the back of Matty as he kept those softs quite well in condition. And he's onto the back of the Alpha. Bit of defensive driving from Matty. Can Rick send it into turn 1? Matty goes defensive enough to fend him off. Now maybe down into turn 4 as Rick takes a more tight line, but it looks like Matty has a much better exit there. And he stays in 5th place there.
As well as Rick may have managed those soft tyres there, you can not hold back the greater durability of the mediums no matter how hard you try. Rick probably doesn't have much left, and he's got to try and hang on to the back of these guys rather than attacking him. He's got to try and reduce his race time, if you will, by not exactly fighting these guys, trying to run with them while they're quicker. You can see he's already struggling to keep up throughout this lap then. Matty though, after the disastrous start that he had, he has slowly but surely been reining in the man who sat alongside him on that front row. So maybe McCrew could come under pressure potentially from RLRT Matty. They still run in formation 4th and 5th. If Matty gets a good exit off this last corner, another penalty for Carmentalist, and the guy that was running in the podium places, I know he's grabbing an undercut, but still this could really hold it back. All the top 3 still stay out, as does Rick, so that's most of the drivers that are keeping themselves out there. Looks like we won't be seeing much action up in that podium fight, but further down the field Nico in the DRS of Eloy Mark, and he may try and chase down the Ferrari who frustrated him in many races so far this season. Can he get a move done there? Mark does not cover the inside line, so Nico down the inside and potentially through, moves over in the braking zone to cover off the charge from the Briton, and yes, he is able to get through. 9th place for QVR. Nico there is going to try and stretch his legs and get himself further up the field then towards Oyson, who was close to earlier on. So Matt, he got massively out of shape through turn 5, but Rick Overseer himself was not quite close enough to mount a challenge into turn 6 and has to send it behind. But Matty, this is what I mean about Matty. He has great pace, but at times the mistakes just creep in for him, and you see a guy that potentially could have the pace to win this race here today. It's not quite working out for him at the moment. He has to try and get it together, because I think if he's consistent, he might have the pace over McCrew in front. So if he's able to get his head down, not make mistakes, he can chase down the Williams in front of him and try and potentially get a move done if he's able to put it all together in these next few laps.
Yeah, and as I think as we're heading on to lap 10 of the race, the pit window quite opens for the one-stoppers as well. We'll have to see who gambles on an undercut or an overcut. And let's see how that depends on. As B Morgan is still on the back of LOE Mark. So Mark doesn't look to be having the greatest pace at the moment. The Mercedes driver is on the back of the Ferrari. Is he close enough for a move though down into turn 1? I don't think he is.
Maybe if he's ambitious on the brakes. He's going for it down the inside. And is he going to get that one stopped? It looks like Mark's going to hold that round. Turn 2 and turn 3 still wheel to wheel. Morgan, who was hesitant on that inside line, is going to yield it to Mark, who's able to fend off for that stern defence that we so often see from him. Morgan again closing him down. Looks to the inside. This time it's not as much commitment on the brakes, and Morgan has to send him behind Eloy Mark. That they still run 10th and 11th, but Mark, again, as we see so many times, he's frustrating the drivers behind him, and Morgan losing time that he could otherwise be gaining there. He's got to try and get past the Ferrari soon.
So he's in pick up a 3-second time penalty, but yeah, indeed, Mark holding up the two Mercedes guys. And let's see, Cookie has, in the meantime, got a 3-second gap to Kilbur. Skiller seems to be going off on his tyres a bit. Let's see, does he pit? He stays out for now. Gary does the same. Of course, medium runners won't pit either way. So let's see, Maledictus coming alive in those mediums now a bit, as he's catch up to the back of Rick, so this is going to be one to keep an eye on for the next few laps. But me, Morgan, on the other hand, is on the back of Mark and seems to be gaining on the straight already and getting that DRS open, getting in the slipstream, and it should be passed easily. And yes, he is.
Further up the road, Maledictus had a big dive at Rick, but ran in deep into turn 1 and was unable to get the car stopped. Has leaked a bit of time, so he's got to try and claw himself back onto the back of the fin. Is it just me? Do you think these soft runners are going for a one-stop here? Because they're staying out quite long on these tyres, and I get the feeling that they may be trying to pull it off. We might see them go to hards, maybe mediums, I don't know. But if they can take the... I'm just thinking, do you think that they can go for the one stop from this possession? It is going to be difficult, but if they can manage the tyres well, it may just be possible.
I do think that is possible, as it's quite an opposite strategy. The game doesn't let you pick it, but I think it's possible. But yeah, the tyres are gonna wear off at the end of the race. So let's see, does anyone opt for the pits? As Cookie is in. And he will probably go into mediums, just get his car stopped nicely. Kilbur follows, and Gary as well. That gets McCrew into the lead. And for confirmation, I think that is Cookie onto mediums. Same for Kilbur, and Gary is onto the mediums as well. As Rick as well in. So the soft run is just getting in. Matty's still on the back of McCrew, and these two have been a hammer and tongue of race. So let's see, McCrew gets a bit of exit, looks like. Can Matty close up under the DRS straight? Cookie comes out of P9 there.
And his rivals are all in quite dirty air, because you see Killer Blue, he's stacked up in Carmentos, so he's got quite a substantial undercut on the Ferrari man. And Carmentos may have to pit again, but of course he's going to be frustrating that Ferrari, who wants to get past as soon as he can then, or lose sight of the Red Bull in front of him, but he's not close enough to go for any sort of moves into turn 4, so has to send him behind the Toro. So Cookie is in nice clean air and has room to push, and that's going to be a great sight for him. Just up the road is the man he's tied on points with the championship with, XL Dan, and that is going to be some reference for Cookie to try and chase down. 3 seconds the gap, and yeah, well, that's a target initiated, and that's Dan. He's not been a good race for XL Dan, and that's just evidence of it there. He sits pretty far from the lead as Gary picks up a penalty. How much will that send him back? But yeah, Cookie having Dan in sight and having a comfortable lead out in front of this race. That's going to be a huge psychological boost for the Slovenian. As further up the road, Matty, yep, down the inside of McCrew, and this time it's a very straightforward pass. So Matty regains the lead that he lost at the start. But these guys are definitely going to be one-stopping, so this lead could be all important. And at the moment, ILRT Matty has grabbed that with both hands, still leads. And XL Dan is on the back of Mark, but not able to get through with DRS. And I think with this massive DRS train that stretches back, Killer Blue is going to have a really tough time navigating the 3 cars in front of him, and that could give Cookie Games such a break in this race. If Jekyll is holding all these guys up, it can allow Cookie Games to establish himself so well from all the other guys that have pitted so far.
It definitely looks like that, and both Gary and Rick are not too far off this either way, so let's see how that's going on. These guys are Daniel's on the hards, of course, but Jekyll's on mediums, Carmento's on fairly old mediums. So let's see, Kilbus is facing quite a challenge here to get past these guys.
Oh, it's Carmental Stan Killer Blue, yeah. One thing that... Oh, sorry, one thing that I do want to point out is if you look at Rick, he's actually opted for the soft tyres, which means he's definitely going for, as Matty comes into the pits from the lead, but Rick has gone for the softs, which means he's definitely committed to a 2-stop strategy. So right now, he needs to make the most of this stint, that DRS train up ahead of him. And where does Matty emerge in all of this? He'll probably be behind most of these drivers there.
Matty's on softs, that's one thing I'm pointing out. He's going for a 2-stop here. As Dan gets past Mark there, down into turn 1, as Cookie is looking in behind as well. And
Dan's round!
Dan is round.
Was there contact between 2 championship rivals?
I think there was, as Mark and Dan were going side by side, and Cookie had his misjudged his braking point there, and looked to be getting towards the inside to avoid him, but spun Dan around there, fortunately. So Gary has now catch up to this train and will be held up quite a bit now.
And this is what could allow Rick into this battle, and he may be able to overtake the 2 cars in front of him on track. But that strategy from Matty seems rather peculiar. I don't know why he'd throw away that medium start he has. If I were him, I'd definitely be committing to a 1-stop, which I believe most of these front runners are going to be going to. McCrew is pitting this lap, and I mean, if I were him, I'd go for the hards. So we'll see what the strategy is from the Dutchman, but if I were him, I'd definitely go for the hards and go for a 1-stop as they're further down the field.
Past Daniel.
And Gary looking behind is going to look round the outside of Daniel. That'd be a sensational move, and you know what? He's pulled that one off at turn 14. Fantastic from Gary as Matty picks up a penalty, as McCrew has also put on the soft tyres. So these guys all committing to the 2-stops. And if anyone on the with the guys that start on mediums is brave enough, is further down the field, we've got 2 cars running parallel. McRick to the inside of Daniel. He may just get that move done. Matty sets in behind him there. They go for a dive, but Daniel right inside, contact with Rick, and Rick is round. Matty has to go round the outside of turn 1 as Rick getting spun out there after Daniel's attempted manoeuvre round the outside of turn 1 as Carmentos down the inside of Jake going into turn 4 there. Can he get that one all stopped in turn 10? Yes, he can. He is through on the Britain, and the McLaren has to send it behind, and Jaco finally loses the front of this train. And on mediums that he hasn't pitted yet, Jaco, this race has gone
Matty and Daniel side by side for the S's, and Matty around the outside gets that one stick.
And now he's going to be under pressure from McCrew. Daniel coming under all sorts of attack. The McCrew switches to the inside of turn 11, and he's got the line into 12. Gets back to the racing line up in the 13th then. So on fresh tyres, they're the best tyres in the entire field. He's got to try and make the most of that there as he hunts down ILRT Matty just up the road. Jekyll is still within range of Carmentos, which will help him defend from Killer Blue. But Killer Blue has such good traction off of turn 16. It may spell him through then. He's tucked in underneath the rear wing of the McLaren. Looks to the inside of the McLaren. In a few seconds he may be past the McLaren, but Jekyll is holding on for the time being. Killer looks to the inside yet again towards turn 1. Is he laying off on the brakes? Jekyll is still round the outside. Can he keep it alongside into turn 2? They're going to go absolutely wheel to wheel, but Killer is through, and Jekyll losing momentum there, but as does Gary. He gets checked up behind, and here comes ILRT Matty closing down next to Gary, who covers to the inside in a turn 4, but lean on the brakes. Matty round the outside of the championship leader. The Irishman under pressure. Can Can Matty get through? They're still side by side towards turn 6. Matty again has the inside line. Gary not yielding, but forced out wide, and he may have to give it up. It's McCrew now to the outside of Gary. Can he get a spot of the championship leader? Round the outside of turn 7. Sensational for McCrew, and has several shots to the heart of Gary, who has to lose out possessions, and he's watched himself drop back as Matty now chasing down his RRT compatriot Jacob. Looks to the inside of turn 12, doesn't get through, but that's disastrous for Gary as Rick gets past
Matty
Daniel.
down the inside of the hairpin.
Whoa!
So both side by side still through this last aim section. Matty is through, and he's up into P10. And McCrew looking in behind as well as Jacob's now into the pits. Gary, looking at Gary, he's onto the back of McCrew once again. Let's see.
Covers the inside line.
Gary might be trying to get through here around the outside, but he
no, he's backed off. Yep, ERS turned down.
McCrew ahead.
So yeah, McCrew gets through ahead of a
In the meantime, B Morgan got past Q here and Nico as well. So that's for now P3, but will be net somewhere further down the grid at least. Yeah, Jacob's onto Hearts by the way, and is looking to end the race on those tires.
That may put him into play somewhat near the end, but I tell you what, our championship leader is going to be cutting a frustrated figure at this point. He loses out to both Matty and McCrew. It's still such a close trainer behind Carmentelis, who's holding up Killer Blue as he has done all the way through this second stint. So Killer has got to try and buck up his ideas, trying to get their way through before Matty ends up challenging there. So Killer Blue sets on the rear wing of Carmentelis, ever searching for a way past, and Matty eagerly in behind. So we may see a swap in this battle. Jacob picks up a penalty. Killer Blue may look for the move. He needs it if he wants any chance of potentially picking up a podium there. He'll pick up the slipstream though off of the Toro Rosso, but it was a good exit from Carmentelis. Look at Matty though. He sits all over the rear wing of the Ferrari, who gets helped along by Carmentelis. They close him down all the time on the main straight. We're going to have 3 cars fighting for the same bit of tarmac towards turn 1, but it's Killer round the outside of Carmentelis. The move may be done, but gets checked up behind and wheel to wheel. Carmentelis has to get a bit. Matty round the outside of turn 3 off the track on the curb, still side by side, may have that possession. He got creative with the track layouts, but he may just about have it there. He's round the outside. Back comes Carmentelis to the inside now of turn 5, almost come together with the Alpha, and look at McCrew in there, almost on the inside of Carmentelis. Gary has to send him more just a spectator to this battle. Carmentelis oversteer off of turn 6, but I don't think McCrew is quite going to be close enough, so Matty is able to follow through behind Killer, may have a run out of there as Carmentelis loses 2 places in that encounter. Great racing in this midfield. Carmentelis on the older tyres, may come under attack yet again. McCrew is down the inside towards turn 12. He has the line, he has the possession now. He's going to run wide, but he may keep that. And Gary still has to send him behind, so Carmentelis loses yet another place on the older tyres. It's predictable, but now Matty on fresh softs. He's got to try and get past Killer Blue very soon. He may have a run on the Ferrari though coming down the main straight.
And meanwhile, Cookie getting easily past Nico there, and Matty side by side with Killer Blue onto the straight, and this looks to be an easy move for the Alfa Romeo there. So Killer Blue tucks in behind in the slipstream and lets the Alpha pass, and he's into P8 there.
Carmentelis in front of Gary then in P11 and 12. Still such a close fought duel here. Not even a duel, it's an absolute war out there in the midfield. And at the moment there, it's Matty that's come out best from that. He's managed to get through it all, but I'm not sure if any of these drivers will be happy with how it goes. They've all lost a heap of time. And look at Cookie Game's position here. You know, he may have to make another pit stop, he may not. But at the moment, sitting in P4, very, very comfortable, and only a few seconds off the lead, despite having made the pit stop. Cookie Games is in an absolutely commanding position there. I think that he's well and truly on for this race win there. With all that battling in the midfield, it's put him into an absolutely cruising lead, and I can't see, unless he makes a major error, I can't see, or a safety car, I can't see anyone getting in the way of Cookie. As further back...
Always into the pits, but yeah, further back I see Gary and Carmentelis going side by side, and I think Gary then inside of the hairpin he went, and he is past into P11 now. Let's see Oysen where he goes on to. He's on to Hearts, quite late. Cookie getting past B Morgan there, and let's see a few battles up ahead. There's Matty getting past Dan.
Carmentos comes back at Gary as well then, so they're still dueling, and Carmentos not lying down and accepting defeat there. He repasses the championship leader on the run down towards turn 1, and Gary is going to be absolutely furious there. He's not made the progress that he would have needed and he would have wanted in this second stint there, currently sitting outside the top 10, so he's got to try and buck up his ideas, but at the moment struggling versus that Toro Rosso in front as Dylan picks up a penalty. It's also been a nightmare race for the Dutchman, and still Mark now at the head of this train now throughout this midfield. If you think that it couldn't get any more entertaining, now Matty's got to try and find a way past Mark, but Mark on 19 old mediums, I don't think even he's going to be able to put up much of a fight here.
Well, you say that as McCrew picks up time penalty, but he has his teammate in this train, so you never know what he is up to. And yeah, maybe he'll help his teammate out quite a bit here. So he has a bit of a train there. It's a bit of a train. It's almost, if you count Carmentalist and Gary not being far off, it's a 7-car train here. So let's see, Matty does have a good exit and looks to be getting past Mark. So Cookie Games get past his teammates for the lead now. Matty trying to get past Mark then. And let's see, the side-by-side up towards, as Cookie Games picks up a time penalty, up towards turn 1 they go. Matty late on the brakes and is past indeed. And breaks down behind, Oysing getting past Rick for P12.
And Gary was able to get through on Carmentos as well, so he's finally freed up, and he's going to try and chase down Killer Blue on the same age tyres, potentially the same strategy. That's the reason for, as there's a dive from XL Dan. A little look at Mark, and McCrew round the outside of turn 4. That'd be something sensational. LR McCrew, what an overtake that was. Opportunism at its finest there. McCrew on Dan, who made a half-hearted move on Mark, left the door open, and McCrew took full advantage round the outside of turn 4. That's one of the best overtakes I've seen in some time. Take a bow, McCrew, right through, and now Mark just in front of him there. The Williams is on a charge here.
Yeah, he's looking very greedy as he is onto the back, onto turn 12. Maybe he'll try something down into the hairpin. He has the overspeed, but he'll stick behind here and maybe try to get past on the straight. Let's see, does Mark go into the pits? He is going quite slowly. Let's see,
he's
defending the inside there. McCrew seems to be getting past here quite easily. And we got to look for Kilroy as well. He's onto the back of Dan. As Carmentalist and Rick are both now into the pits. Yeah, McCrew getting past. Mark there for P6 now. And Dan looking in behind. You see, he's still to pits. He'll go probably onto the softs at the end of the race. So let's see how this plays out.
Well and truly into the second half of this Mexican Grand Prix, and Killer Blue is going to be looking eager to try and snatch that place off of Dan, especially with Gary rapidly closing in behind now, beginning to G himself up and looking at a potential. Mark's run wide, and he's going to let Dan and Killer Blue through him there, and Gary's down the inside as well. So Mark, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's very peculiar the way he just kind of pulled off to the side there. I'm not sure if that was oversteer or mistake, or if it was team orders of some sort. That was very odd. But Mark lost 3 places in that. I'm baffled by that. Now that seems like a very strange mistake or decision. I'm not sure. But Mark going off track and dropping from 7th down to 10th in pretty much the blink of an eye there.
Yeah, it was definitely quite odd how that happened for the Ferrari driver. Now it's Dan holding up this back, and Kilbur looking to get past quite soon, I reckon. Dan goes outside to have a better run through. He has a good run, but the DRS will be too powerful, I reckon. And it definitely is, as Jorno picked up a time penalty there. Kilbur is past Dan. Will Gary get close enough to get past? I don't think he will. And Dan goes back down to P8, and Kilbur up to P7 now. And he's freed now from Gary. So he'll be looking to go on the charge. So Gary is still in the back of Dan.
And Dan's not DRS.
Yeah, and Gary looking to get past quite easily. Down the inside he goes. And he is past the need, so that's P8 for the racing point. And we'll be looking to hang on now to Killer Blue.
Mark's still sitting in behind him then, as Gary did get a bit out of shape, I saw, going out of turn 5, or turn 6, sorry, but was able to keep it together. He's still looking at Killer, trying to wrestle that place for him, but I'm not sure if it's going to mean for much. Still, Cookie Games, what a performance this has been. This is reminiscent of Hungary earlier this season. He's just been in a class of his own, no one to challenge him, and yeah, realistically, he's taken advantage of all the battling behind him then, but I don't think anyone's really had the speed to get near him. Cookie Games 14, 5 seconds in front of cars that haven't pitted yet. That is a masterful performance from the Slovenian.
It definitely is. As Matty's now in for his final pit stop onto the 2 stop, and I think he'll be going onto softs maybe. As Mark is following in, as B Morgan getting past Maledictus side by side. B Morgan does get past, and he's into P2. Yeah, Matty and Mark both onto softs.
And Nico may be the next driver to challenge Maledictus, who curves the inside line towards turn 4, so the Spaniard looks around the outside, and Iberian battle there. Can he get the move done? Right outside of turn 4, we've seen drivers do it. Gets the inside in a turn 5, and I think he'll be the possession. Maledictus is forced slightly off the track. Oh, they come together very slightly. He has to yield it though, does the Portuguese there. Through goes Nico up at a P3 on the road. These guys all have to pit though, but we'll see where they all emerge as Maledictus does pick up a penalty to add to his woes on this very lap, as Gary does look to have a slight pace advantage on Colour Blue. He's chasing him down all the time, but ultimately the battles have set him back. But now he has a relatively clear run at the Ferrari. He looked to try and get the move done then, as we're ticking down the laps in this Mexican Grand Prix. But Gary versus Killer, in the grand scheme of things, this battle could be so important for Gary's hopes in the championship, especially as Cookie is cruising to a race win. Every position is going to be absolutely vital for the Irishman.
B Morgan and Maledictus pit in while Maledictus is going too fast into it, and he has a 5-second time penalty right now, which will set him back quite a bit.
Here comes Gary.
But Gary onto closing. The back of Killer Blue indeed, has the DRS, overspeeds, and he pulls towards the inside of turn 1, and he does get past quite easily, I think. So Killer Blue just stuck in behind and might be looking for a switchback down towards turn 4 perhaps, if he gets a good enough exits. But Gary will have the DRS as this one detection zone. As in behind we have Oysen and Dan side by side to go, and Oysen on those hards looking quite good for a good position here. Gotta be said, as Nico McCrew still to pits. He's looking for a P4.
Yeah, Oysen
behind Cookie, Gary and Killer.
Yeah, Oysen, I actually overlooked that there. The progress he's making on those hards is very encouraging there. And he even may have a shot at Gary Killer up ahead of him, because although he has the harder tyres, he has much fresher tyres. It may account for enough. But now we're going to have to watch the charge of the pack led by Morgan that have pitted onto the soft tyres. And now they are going to be running up first on Morgan's list. It's going to be Iro Dillon, but the gap ahead is sits at sub 10 seconds. So he's really got to get a move on and be efficient with his overtakes there. This would help closing down on Dillon towards turn 12. I don't think the move's quite going to come through. He feints to the inside on the back of the Dutchman there. Is there going to be any sort of move? Doesn't look like it. Into turn 13, swings it up behind, and we know how powerful that DRS could be. Matty, and look, Morgan's actually stolen the march on Matty, able to get through because of all the battling in that midfield. Morgan is actually in front of the pole sitter in terms of net position. Matty's not going to be happy with that though. He's going to try and chase him down potentially, so we'll see how that all unfolds there. But Morgan is chasing down Dillon, who does not cover to the inside, so B Morgan slips down the inside up into the top 5. He's got more pit stops then through some of those front runners, as you mentioned. Oysen now into a solid P4, but now Dillon slipping back, and now can Matty steal that 6th place off the back of the Dutchman there. He looks to the inside there, and I think it's going to be an easy move for the Alfa Romeo. Wheel to wheel, Dillon still on the outside through turn 4, but doesn't have the grip to hold it all the way round, and through goes our Team Matty. To 6th place there, and he's got more to try and chase down there. He's got a lap older tyres, but can he find a way to get through on the Mercedes who still runs in front of him on the road? Still an engaging battle here between Gary.
Looking at Dillon there for the S's was never going to work there. Maledictus maybe down towards turn 12. Dillon looking a bit out of shape. Maybe Maledictus can try for a move here. I think he's too far back for this one, and he'll stick in behind.
And Dillon though is wide. Maledictus very close on the brakes there. We know the grip he's going to have, and he needs to try and be efficient with his overtakes there. Dillon goes straight over turn 14 there, which is quite odd there, and we'll see, he's going to stay out, I believe. Yes, so he does get a good run actually off the final corner. May make things a little bit more challenging for Maledictus to find a way through, but the DRS is going to be in favour of the Portuguese as he closes down on Dillon up ahead, and again Dillon does not cover the inside line. I think again he realises that his chances of holding that position are next to nil, and through goes Maledictus up in the 7th. So he's going to try and make progress then on those fresh tyres, but there's a lot of ground for him to make up on some of the cars there. Dillon has practically for the white flag, and through goes Nico almost immediately. So he's up in the 8th there, and he's still got that target of Maledictus, but we know Mala has that 5-second penalty, which is going to really set him back. Oysen is quicker, by the way, than the guys in 2nd and 3rd, and Gary picks up yet another penalty. Now, if the field bunches up behind him, Gary may kiss goodbye to his podium, so that, you know, Gary may be under pressure here with at the very least 6 seconds of penalties. I'm not sure about Killer, I'm not sure about Oysen, but Oysen's pace.
Top 4. Everyone except Gary has 3 seconds. Gary only one with 6 seconds, so he is provisionally looking outside the podium as Crew gets past Dylan down at turn 12. Good move, and he's been showing some eager moves as Maledictus because another time penalty. He's quite struggling there, it looks like, to keep it within the white lines. But yeah, Oysen looking really quick on those hards, which is quite surprising as they don't really deliver grip around here.
Yeah, but of course, clearly that advantage with the age of the tyre as pulling into his frame. Now Mark, he's been on the defence the whole time. Now he's going to turn it into attack as he chases down Carmentos there. But it looks like it's going to be easy. He slips his way through before they even turn the wheel, before they even hit the brakes at turn 1. Dan and Jaco are side by side there. Down the inside, Dan gets the move done on Jaco, who has to yield it and down into 14th place. So Dan through. He's got to try and grab as any points that he can get, but I think with Gary in 2nd, he could be out the championship fight after this, or at least very, very close to it. He may well, as it stands, I think he still stays in the championship fight, but he'll right on the fringes of it, and I think Dan's championship chances are all but over now at this point there, and simply with 2 races to go after this, it's too much ground to make up.
It definitely looks like that. So Gary is on for a provisional P4, so that would be 44 points behind, I think, Dan, behind Gary. And that's going to be really tough to make up. So Matty picks up another time penalty. He's been struggling as well with that. Let's see. This looks like quite solid terrain. Yeah, up ahead we have Cookie just sitting out in front. 14 seconds almost ahead of Gary. And looking very comfortable here. Dylan's into the pits.
Very late pit stop. And he may just be going for fastest lap, which would deny it. I think would only deny it of anyone else. But Nico and Maledictus, this has been quite an intriguing battle. The Battle of Iberia. I think on penalties Nico quite comfortably has this one anyway. But still, he'll probably want to get this one done on track. He's a racer at the end of the day. He'll be looking to get as high up that grid as he can before the stewards have a say. Can I just ask you though, does Morgan have any penalties? Because at the rate that he's chasing down those cars ahead, he may even be in contention with potentially gaining some spots here. So what about Morgan there? What's his situation with penalties?
He is, except for one warning, entirely clean there. So he's definitely looking good, as he's almost within the range of Gary already. And maybe with the radar he's catching that indeed. Who knows, Oysen and Killer Blue could be in vision as well. So let's keep an eye on that gap.
Yeah, he's showing some fantastic pace there. Of course, the softs will begin to wear in the last few laps, so he's got to try and make the difference now. But yeah, he's got about, I'd say, probably about 2 seconds or so to make up on Gary Donegan. But of course, if Killer, who's at the moment just sitting in behind him there, doesn't seem to have the pace to quite trouble Gary, but definitely quick enough to send that DRS, he may just be content sitting there in 2nd place.
Look at Nico. Around the outside of Maledictus.
Not giving up.
Can he make this one stick? It does look like he has.
Maledictus has to yield that 7th place. It's further down the field. It's Dan down the inside of Eloy Mark, who looks back around the outside, but Dan sets it on the apex and holds that 10th place. Makes it through, and he's gaining points. But as I said, at the moment, the championship, his championship hopes seem to be slipping through his fingers there with quite a lowly position still, despite it being a decent drive in the race. The qualifying has really hurt him there, unfortunately, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make up for it in the dying laps. He probably doesn't have many penalties, but he's quite a long way off anyone really up ahead. As on the last lap, Morgan has gained yet another second, and he's not far away, as you mentioned, to troubling Gary. And if Killer Blue is able to find just a little bit more pace, he might also trouble Gary. They start battling, which also favours Oysen, who's right in this fight as well. I think Oysen's looking at a podium here, and potentially even a P2. And Morgan, you can't rule him out from getting on the podium as well, because he's only got to make him another 2 more seconds to be within range of Oysen.
Definitely look like, and coming from P15 on the grid, it's a really good drive from the Mercedes driver. As McCrew is looking to the back of Maledictus now as well, he's catch up to these guys. He's always picked up a time penalty. And that moves B. Morgan into a provisional P4 already.
And we know the pace he's showing, it could be even more in just a couple of laps there. He's got to keep that progress going. Predictably, Iro Dillon 6th, the fastest lap of the race. A little bit of a fight going down between the two McLarens. Jekyll sending on the rear wing of his teammate. Rick has got yellow. Super Gamer is out the session. He's crashed, I think. Oh, he's either going into the pit lane or he's full safety car. Oh my word! We have a safety car.
Let's see. Will Cookie try and pit? As he does have the gap, let's see what
yeah, there's a good gap,
does.
yeah. If I were Cookie, I would be pitting. He's in 2 minds, he does pit. So now he's going to take that gamble, and I expect that a lot of these guys will be pulling in as well. That does nullify the tyre advantage that some of these guys have, but I don't know what the situation could have here. But Cookie does pit on softs. Does he still maintain the lead though? We're just going to have to wait and see.
Let's see
Gary
if
stays
out
out.
As well. This is going to be really close.
Oysen
has a bit penalty.
Gary's
Gary
ahead.
Gets out.
Gary and Killer are both ahead.
Let's
and does
see.
Morgan? Morgan close.
Stays out because he of course has those softs still there. Oysen in. Let's see. B. Morgan could be in a prime position here.
You're right.
To pick up a really good result and maybe even a win.
If he can stay within range, but of course, versus Cookie, and Cookie does have that 3-second penalty that Morgan doesn't have, but he does have 7-lap pressure tyres, and with the softs, that is quite quite an advantage.
Definitely, and the other driver in behind, Kivir Nico, has not picked up a single warning throughout the entire race here.
Wow, that is impressive.
And he's looking at a professional P2 maybe even here. So let's see how that all pans out. I think Gary and Kilblue will be at a huge disadvantage, and how will Cookie approach this? Will he go quite aggressive, or will he tuck in behind and do it nicely in the straights? As he does have those much better tyres. Well, you'd expect him to get past.
He needs to get past Killer Blue. But I think with a huge, monumental tyre advantage that he has, I really respect Gary for going for this strategy. But I'm not sure if it's going to pay off. With 6 seconds of penalties, the safety car has put him in a really awkward position here. He's looking at getting in the top 4, but now he has got a real task on his hands to stay near the front. With those 6 seconds of penalties, it's going to really hold him back.
And one thing I want to point out as well, you said Dan was not in a good position here. Well, I think that's changed now.
Yeah, the safety car.
The safety car has helped him quite a lot, as he only has 2 warnings actually, so he's gotta watch out. McCrew up ahead has 9 seconds. Maledictus has
a lot.
A whole lot. I think around 15. I just called that. And maybe Gary, if doubtfully that Dan will get in 6 seconds of Gary, but let's see how this plays out.
Well, of course,
Dan
Gary
is on those fresher softs. That's,
yeah, I was going to say Gary on the tyres that he is on is going to really play into his downfall. I think that Gary and Killer, because if we do get back to racing on this lap, DRS will probably be active for a couple of laps at the end of this race, potentially.
I don't know. I honestly, because if it goes in this lap, yeah. You have, do you have 1 lap or 2 laps without DRS after a safety car?
I'm not sure. Definitely at least 1, and you might be right, but
because the detection zone is still on the previous lap.
So it's
for both detection zones. So it might be all
only the last lap.
Only the last lap, possibly, if it is 1 lap indeed after a safety car.
Well, yeah. So Gary has a real task on his hands if he wants to keep the championship lead, or at least keep a good championship lead that he's managed to build up all the way through. Safety car will come in at the end of this lap. There's options for Gary. Where will he go? Cookie Games has a real chance of getting this race win, but he needs to pull a gap over Morgan and Nico in particular. Put it in the chat, lads. Who do you think is going to come away with the win here? We're just going to get those questions answered. Gary leads on track, but it seems unlikely that he's going to come away with a full 25 points from this Grand Prix. Let's see how it ends up. Killer Blue sits on the rear wing of the leading Racing Point. Contact further back, but Gary is going to get things back on the way now and leads away. But Killer is within range. Can Cookie Games make an impact on these top two? Killer's going to have a really good slipstream off the race leader. Gary ducking and leaving, left and right, trying to break the slipstream, and here comes Killer, chasing him down all the time, closing him down, and now to the outside towards the first corner. Watch Cookie in behind. Cookie may make it 3 wide towards turn 1. He is going to make it 3 wide there. May have to back off last minute. Gary's deep into turn 1, and Cookie has the race lead. What can he make with that? Gary out of shape through turn 3. Killer alongside him again. Can he get moved on this time? He's wheel to wheel with the championship leader there. Morgan sitting eagerly in behind, but they're still wheel to wheel. Gary holds the inside line, runs deep in contact. Round goes Killer, and he has to sit back there. Killer blue for a championship position. Here's Nico to the inside. Nico, what could this do for his chances? He is through on Morgan, crucially, and now to the outside of his teammate who lets him go. So Gary gives up that second place, and now he's got B Morgan behind him there. But Nico has almost lost that 3 seconds immediately. Cookie Games, if he doesn't pick up more penalties with 6 lap pressure tyres, he may still be able to get the race win here. Morgan still on the back of Gary, looks to the inside of turn 12. No way through. Still looking at the Irishman, but no way through. But yeah, Cookie Games, out of that 3 second range.
The two Williams drivers going side by side through the same section. McCrew stays ahead there. We're getting very close there between the two drivers. McCrew's down into the pits. He's not. He looked like he went into the pits, but it's side by side
he's
down the
still
straight.
wheel to wheel. Look at the two Williams going absolutely parallel down the main straight. Morgan as well, chasing down Gary, who covers middle of the road, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. Down the inside goes B Morgan for P3. Yes, it's going to be. And now Gary runs wide. Maledictus even threatening him, and McCrew was able to come out better from the two Williams drivers. Further down the field, Carmentals and Jekyll even going at it there. Jekyll picks up a penalty and losing out there on those older tyres there. He's got Matty setting up behind him there. Remember, Matty qualifying on pole. We know he's got pace. He's going to be frustrated, and he looks down the inside. Jaco looks round the outside. Neither of them through on Carmentals. Matty looks for the switch back there. Gets alongside. It's going to be a good move. Into turn 6. Through goes Artie Matty. He has P11 then. Can he make progress then? But of course, with a lot of penalties that he has there, he's in a tough position. But Cookie has sheer pace since the safety car restart. If he doesn't get another penalty, it's looking good for him. But of course, if he does, it's going to put Nico within his range. It's still not over yet, but Cookie, as long as he keeps it together on this last lap, looks like he's heading for a critical haul of 25 points from this Mexican Grand Prix.
It does look like that. DRS is now enabled indeed, but I don't think it will be active as the detection point is before the start-finish straight. McCrew looking on the back of Maledictus now. Down towards everyone on the final lap. Can Williams driver get through as he's slightly gaining?
Defending.
Gary pulls towards the inside. Maledictus is following him as
McCrew
McCrew on the brakes.
Can he get that done? Right outside of Maledictus, they come together, contact it through. Goes McCrew, another great manoeuvre, this time on the Portuguese. Further down the field, Matty was dueling away with Mark there, and the Ferrari has to give it up there. But now, Maledictus again is going to be on the defensive because Oyston sits behind him there. Dan in 8th place could jump up multitude of positions. And I think when this is all said and done, you mentioned he may not be able to stay within 6 seconds of Gary, but look at the position now. I think that Dan is going to outscore Gary here, which is going to blow the championship wide open. As now to the outside looks Oyston on Maledictus towards turn 7. The Portuguese is deep, round the outside, through turn 8, into turn 9, another fantastic move, and it's a Nico penalty. So Morgan may have P2 from this race. An absolutely manic last few laps, but one man has been a level above the rest all the way through.
Down the inside of Dan there, it's a few drivers pick up penalties. Maledictus and Carmentalist Wordo says Dan and Matty now looking around the outside, and they're touching. And Matthew's just getting through
Oyston on McCrew as well. He gets up to 5th. We'll see how the penalties shape up there. Gary crosses 4th. Does he keep 4th? Dan, does he jump up? He gets 4th. He outscores Gary. Mark gets P6. Gary still holds 5th, which is a miracle in itself. But Cookie gets the win. The championship took a big twist in that race. Cookie Games is right back in it.
And it definitely is. And I'm curious who picks up the fastest lap here. As, of course, in those last couple bits, who knows? Picks up, it's Cookie right back in it. D Morgan getting 2nd place from P15 on the grid, which is truly amazing by him. And Nico in 3rd place, running off the podium there.
I'm just looking through. I think Dylan was able to deny Cookie the fastest lap by about 1/10 of a second, so that is a point taken away from Cookie, but still, he gains, I believe, 15 points on Gary Donegan, which puts him, well, I think he was he 32 or 33, something like that, behind, but now, with that, he is right in it with 2 races to go. Oh my, what a race we've been treated to at Mexico. Incredible action all the way through. It's Cookie Games gets himself right in the hunt with just 2 races to go. Oh boy, it's getting harder and harder to pick a winner from this championship there. Gary under more pressure now than ever there as Cookie closes the gap down in this race here in Mexico.
Yeah, Cookie winning ahead of B. Morgan, then it's Nico, Dan, Gary, Mark, without a lot of penalties, I think only 3 seconds in P6, then McCrew, Jorno, a decent debut there, and got up into P8, Rick in 9th, Kilburn at the top 10, Matty in 11th, and Oysin in P12. Then it's Jacob, Daniel, Carmentalist, Maledictus, unfortunately all finishing outside the top 10, and then we have Dylan Super Gamer and White for Y not finishing, and Dylan picking up the fastest lap, but won't get the point for that. So let's see. So, that's been one truly amazing race. Once again, B2 never fails to disappoint.
I think that in particular, that was definitely a top 3 race of the season in my opinion. Absolutely superb action there from all the drivers there. Hopefully the stream was adequate as well for you guys there. I think both me and Verstappen probably need a few drinks after that one. Anyway, yeah, so a big twist in the championship fight. Of course, both Cookie and Dan gain on Gary Donegan. It's amazing that Dan did. The position he was in the entire race just shows that, you know, it can all change in just the blink of an eye. Such an unpredictable division, such an exciting division, and it's been evidence of it yet again there. 2 races to go in D2, and the championship is more exciting than ever. Well, I guess we'll not keep you going for too long then. After yet another incredible race here in Division 2 of LOE, we are getting into the business end of things now. Just 2 to go. Who is going to come out on top? There are still 3 people in contention for the title. And without much further be said, I won't keep you for too long. I'm Adeka. He's been Verstappen. Until next time, we'll see you later.